美国时事通，我是罗文。
今天是2025年5月7号星期三。昨天财务部长 Benson 宣布了一个很大的消息哈，就是他这个周末的时候会去瑞士和中国的代表团进行贸易的谈判哈。
Fox News alert. This is big news. Looks like China is starting to crack under pressure. Turns out the United States marketplace can't be replaced after all. Moments ago, we learned that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer are both heading to Switzerland this week to meet with China's lead representative on trade and economic matters. And the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, just wandered into the studio, just was in the building for some reason, exclusively to tell us more about what Wall Street has been waiting for. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us. Now, earlier today, you said that we hadn't had negotiations with China. Now you're 2 days away from getting on a plane. And I know you've been working around the clock, but what changed? What was the catalyst for this?
Well, Laura, we haven't had negotiations. And first, thanks for having me on the show. The world has been coming to the U.S., and China has been the missing piece. I was going to be in Switzerland to negotiate with the Swiss. Turns out the Chinese team is traveling through Europe, and they will be in Switzerland also. So we will meet on Saturday and Sunday. And look, we have shared interest that this isn't sustainable, as I said before, especially on the Chinese side. And 145%, 125% is the equivalent of an embargo. We don't want to decouple. What we want is fair trade.
But who made the first call? Like in a dating world, like who makes the first call here today?
There are lots of calls, Laura, is that there isn't a first call. There are a lot of contact points over time.
All right. China typically loves a long, drawn-out process, as we knew in previous trade negotiations. How do you get them in this situation, without revealing too much, to move at the speed that we know President Trump wants to operate at with this deal, which I imagine will be fairly large?
Well, I think that this is what we're going to do in Switzerland is we've agreed to talk. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we will agree what we're going to talk about. My sense is that this will be about de-escalation, not about the big trade deal. But we've got to de-escalate before we can move forward.
Well, they said that they would not talk unless the reciprocal trade tariff of 145% was removed. Would it be likely that you would be able to go back to the president and say, to show good faith, we could drop this down in the interim to 50%? Could that be in the cards?
Laura, I'm not going to negotiate. You're on TV. You're one of the most popular anchors in the world. So I'm not going to give away our strategy. Look, everything's on the table. It's up to the president at the end of the day. The president has said that he's happy just to give all countries a number if the negotiations don't go well. And that's what we're doing with the other 17 important trading points.
这个谈判的话，不涉及的具体的内容，可能就是谈个大概吧。后面呢，大概的一个方向。福克斯的记者就问他说：“那到底谁先给谁打电话？”哈，他说。没有谁先打电话的问题，就是说双方一直都在联系嘛，有多个层面的不同的人都在联系。中国也同时宣布了这个消息，不过中国宣布的时候就说，美国人要来谈，所以我们就谈吧，好像挺委屈了哈。那这个事情很简单，如果你不愿意谈，你也可以不来谈嘛。虽然双方都没有透露是谁提出来要先谈的，那可能大家都愿意谈哈，但是有一点很明显。美国去瑞士是有理由的，因为美国是对全世界都有贸易战，所以美国应该有理由和瑞士去谈判。但是中国为什么要去瑞士呢？中国可没有跟全世界打贸易战，他的贸易团去跟瑞士谈什么呢？那当然，我觉得两国都是希望谈的，因为涉及到非常大的贸易额，尤其是中方的这个经济状况特别不好的情况下哈。新冠以来一直到现在，中国的经济都没有恢复哈。中国一直在说要拉动内需，但是内需显然拉动起来比较困难哈。那如果外贸现在都遭受非常大的打击的话，你可以想象中国的经济有多么的糟糕哈。那当然很多人说，那美国不是一样吗？你们用不上我们便宜的东西哈。 其实你现在到商场去，不管是到平价的沃尔玛、Target 还是很多其他的商场哈，对很多中国的产品，但实际上这些年来，就经过川普第一任期之后，你可以看到，在商场里卖的这些衣服也好，或者是玩具也好，很多其实它不是中国进口的，而且很大一部分都不是中国进口的，而是洪都拉斯啊、墨西哥、柬埔寨等等所有这些国家。所以那当然很多人就说，那你这样说，实际上美国的制造业是回不来的。那这个问题分两点哈，第一个就是说我们要回来的制造业是什么？那我的理解就是说，现在其实美国回来的很多是高科技的这个制造业。你看5个万亿的投资，大部分都是投资在 AI 的制造和 AI 的这个工厂上，也就是说以后的工厂根本就不是低劳力劳动密集型的手工劳动的这么一些制造业了，都是利用 AI 的制造业。这是此其一哈。那当然你可以说，那美国工人说想干活可能还是没指望，他 AI 不可能个个都是 AI 的操作员哈。那第一，这个是可以培训的。第二个，如果经济好的话，那他们可以进入服务行业哈，就是餐馆啊，或者是地产啊，或者更多的服务行业。总之，我觉得美国制造业的回流不是那么简单的，好像要拼工人手工的一个回流哈。你可以看到这个趋势，那整个全球的趋势也应该是这样。那第二个，即使是不跟中国买的话，美国可以跟更多的其他国家买，大部分产品是可以完全替代中国的。那当然中国可以说我出口欧洲或者出口其他国家，中国也在出口欧洲出口非洲，那现在它的这个市场仍然没有美国大，所以这是为什么川普有底气去打贸易战要谈判的一个原因哈。
When President Trump says he doesn't blame the other countries for taking advantage of us, he blames the previous presidents at the Resolute desk. I agree with him, because when these countries come with these good deals, look, this is a great deal. How do we get here? How do we get here? And the other thing too is we've created this barbell economy. So of course the status quo has done well. So the status quo is we have advanced finance, we have a tech sector that's the envy of the world. On the other side, we have a natural resources economy led by energy, which, by the way, the last administration tried to kill. And President Trump is filling in the arc in between with manufacturing jobs. We're down to 8% manufacturing jobs in the U.S., and research has shown the best way to get the real wage increases is in manufacturing jobs, not in the service sector.
那当然很多人就说，不能跟中国谈哈，中国你看第一次谈判的话就欺骗了我们，拖来拖去最后也没弄出个什么，然后好不容易签了个协议嘛，然后执行了一部分，然后新冠一来也全部都毁了，说那这次再谈能谈出什么？他们可能也会拖哈。我觉得中国经济到这个状况，他们再拖下去对他们是不利的，反而假设美国跟其他国家都达成协议的话，最后的结果对他们来说更不利哈。所以这是为什么双方终于走到谈判桌边哈。那当然班森也说得很客气，他说那我们都需要谈，我们也不希望脱钩哈。因为之前在贸易战刚刚打响的时候，中方就一直对美国提出要求，就是说如果你们要来谈的话，你们必须要降低你们的内阁成员或者高级官员对中国的一个攻击哈，就说你们这样攻击的话，我们没面子，没法谈哈。那所以现在美方的这个态度是比较和缓的，所以目前呢感觉就是说双方是有商量，是非常有默契的，所以就不提说到底谁先打电话，谁先打电话有什么所谓呢？何况如果你真的不愿意的话，你可以不来嘛，就算我们一天打100个电话你也可以不来，对吧？就这么简单的嘛。所以谈判一定是会谈的，那至于谈成怎么样就看中方的诚意有多大了哈。我觉得美国既然祭出这个贸易战，那当然是希望谈判，希望大家所有人都降低关税，我可以进口你的产品，但是更重要的是你要进口我的产品哈。所以制造业回流不是说要把中国的这些玩具或者服装拿到美国来生产，而是说我们有一个布局，说我增加我美国的农业高科技或者其他产品的一些强项，打破你的贸易壁垒，能够把我们的产品平等的卖到你们国家去，这才是所谓这个制造业的回流哈。不是说我们美国要制造全世界所有的东西。那当然战略方面的 PPE 也好，还是药物也好，还有很多战略性的产品的话，美国是一定要自主生产的哈。我觉得这就是贸易战的意义之所在。那这是关于贸易战的 update 哈，肯定有曲折有高低。那我们就看这周末的一个状况哈。 Benson 在今天的听证会上非常概括地说明了川普的这个经济蓝图，我们可以听一下。
Chairman Hill, Ranking Member Waters, and members of the committee, I'm grateful to join you today. At the IMF and World Bank spring meetings last month, I relayed an important message. America first does not mean America alone. To the contrary, America First seeks to expand U.S. leadership in international institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. By embracing a stronger leadership role, the United States will restore fairness to the international economic system. I look forward to answering your questions on this topic today, and I look forward to providing you with a broad overview of Treasury's achievements and future plans. Specifically, I would like to highlight the Department's efforts to boost U.S. economic growth, improve government efficiency, and target illicit actors that threaten our national security. The core components of the Trump economic agenda are trade, tax cuts, and deregulations. These are not standalone policies. They are interlocking parts of an engine designed to drive economic growth and domestic manufacturing. Tax cuts and cost savings from deregulation raise real incomes for families and businesses. Tariffs create an incentive for reshoring jobs and fair trade. And deregulation complements tariffs by making it easier to invest in energy and manufacturing projects. Already, this agenda is bearing fruit. In the first 100 days of the new administration, 464,000 new jobs were added to the economy. In April alone, over 177,000 American jobs were added, more than 40,000 more than economists predicted. All the while, employment remains low while real hourly wages continue to grow. As important as spurring job growth is wrangling inflation, and in this endeavor, the administration continues to make tangible progress. The CPI for energy goods declined in March, as did the price index for core goods, and the CPI for all items declined for the first time since the COVID pandemic. While the cost of goods is decreasing, so are energy prices. Complementary to our efforts to grow American prosperity, we are focused on improving efficiency across all levels of government, but especially the IRS. We just concluded a successful tax filing season, but the IRS still needs significant reforms to deliver efficient and cost-friendly results for the American people. In this endeavor, we have successfully cut $2 billion from the IRS IT budget without any operational disruptions. We achieved these cost savings by eliminating, renegotiating, and de-scoping wasteful IT and professional service contracts and addressing long-standing efficiencies such as auto-renewed licenses unused for years. This intervention alone will save taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars each year. We are also taking steps at the IRS to reduce administrative costs with a particular focus on paper processing, which has been a long-standing bipartisan goal. Last year, the IRS spent approximately $450 million on paper processing with nearly 6,500 full-time staff dedicated to the task. Through policy changes and automation, Treasury aims to reduce this expense to under $20 million by the end of President Trump's second term. In addition to making government more efficient, Treasury is committed to working alongside the White House to make America safe again. To that end, we have launched a maximum pressure campaign against violent cartels and terrorist networks. We have assessed tens of millions of dollars in civil penalties against organizations facilitating money laundering along the southern border. And by leveraging sanctions, we are choking off the financial lifelines of terrorists, criminals, and hackers from Mexico and Guatemala to China and Iran. In the first 100 days of the new administration, we have set the table for a robust economy that allows Main Street to grow. With Congress and the White House working hand in hand, we expect to see even more positive results over the next few months. Key to expanding economic opportunity for all Americans is making the Trump tax cuts permanent. We are eager to work closely with members of this committee to pass this bill into law. Together, we can build a stronger, safer, and more prosperous America. Thank you.
希望美国的经济在川普总统和 Benson 的带领下，有一个更健康的模式繁荣发展。OK， 这是今天的播报，感谢您的收看，加油！